This video is made for adult collectors because they gave the ambulance an axe. Medical professional at his finest. Combiners are very interesting. I've already messed it up. I've already messed up the start. Wow. Combiners are a very interesting concept. You take more than one robot, combine it with another, and it forms a new robot. There are plenty of them, ranging from 2 members all the way to I don't know how many members Infernicus and Dragonstorm had. That seemed to change all the time. Problem with combiners, though, from a toy perspective, is their price. They get very expensive. If you want a Hasbro Combiner Wars combiner, like nowadays you're paying like $150 or more for a lot of them on average. CW Devastator goes for like $300 to $400. If you want to go third party, then you're looking at $250 to $1,000 because the Kang toys Predaking in total costs like over $1,000. Even Legacy Motormaster is about $200 when all said and done. But then there's this. This Defensor, which is about this big, costs $110 US and was $20 to ship to me in Canada from TF Safari in China. So that's not a bad price. This video is sponsored by TF Safari. They were kind enough to send this my way. I only paid for the shipping, and they sell third-party and knockoff stuff ranging from gap fillers, weapon upgrades, to the latest third-party toys, to some obscure knockoffs like I didn't even know this was a thing until they showed it to me. They have this on sale right now too at the time of writing this, but the not sale price is also still like only $10 more. So even if you miss the sale, it's cheap as hell. And they have a boatload of other stuff to go check out. And again, you can use code ThatToyGuySpecial 3% off. Yeah, I know. You save an extra couple of dollars on top of that, which is always nice. So thank you so much, TF Safaris, for sponsoring today's video. Now back to the actual toy. And quickly, I have a Patreon. It is in the description if you want to go check it out. While they did provide this to me, all views expressed in this video are my own, and this thing is massive. But before we do the combine mode, let's get into the smaller dudes. We got Streetwise, Blades, Groove, First Aid, and Hotspot. Who is the worst? But we'll get to that later. Yeah, Hasbro gave the cop a shotgun. Anyways, these are almost straight reproductions of the Hashtag companions, only like leader class size now for some reason. I don't know why you'd need the individual figures to be this big, but it's all in service of the combine mode, which I think needs to be as big as it is in my brain, so it makes sense. Streetwise here actually has a couple of new tweaks as well. I think he's the only person that has new tweaks other than the fists and Hotspot, who sucks. But those tweaks make the figure feel slightly better. The arm panels here cover the gaps in the forearms, which I know bothered a lot of people at the time. He has opening hands, wrist swivels, and light piping. That was something that was left out of really Prime Wars on a lot of toys, but they added light piping here on all the figures, so that's neat to see. Paint is pretty okay. There's a splash of blue where it really shouldn't be, but it's like in the arm, that it's kind of hidden, so I'm not that mad. But the paint is not 100% the cleanest in some small areas. What I do want to touch on though is the plastic. These are knockoffs, and with that, they're made cheaper than the official products, and it usually means cheaper materials that could discolor, break, or crumble. But these, okay, this requires a little bit of explaining and backstory. So Combiner Wars and Age of Extinction was a huge shift for Transformers, and one of the things that changed was the plastic quality. They changed factories. It's gotten a lot better since then, but it was pretty not great. But it also wasn't as terrible as some knockoffs out there. Like, there's a lot of knockoffs I've messed with that feel worse than Combiner Wars plastic. And with that, the plastic still felt like Hasbro plastic during Combiner Wars, just a little bit worse off. Now enter this set, a knockoff, but the plastic feels exactly like those original Protectobots from Combiner Wars. So like, I have no worries about the plastic's longevity, as I still have one of my Protectobots. I sold the rest, but I kept one, and he is held up. And this feels pretty great, other than the upgrade chest, but I'll talk about that later. But the plastic on all of them, it actually feels like a Hasbro product. It is very weird. This guy's my favorite because he's my favorite Combiner Wars toy. This is the only part of Defensor I kept from the original Combiner Wars set. It's actually the only Combiner Wars toy I still have, and I like it a lot. He looks the part too, with some added paint on the bot mode, and man, seeing the original next to this is so weird. Also, having messed with the bigger ones for like the past week and a bit, and then going back to mess with small first aid for the video, it felt like I was touching a Legends toy. It was so strange. He also has light piping and the added new hands, and I'm gonna be honest, of all the 4 of them, they look ugly as fuck. The original toys had hands colored like the rest of the toy, but these being black don't match at all, and it's super weird. He also has an axe, the only protectable that doesn't have a gun, but I guess that's a good thing. Ambulances don't need pistols. Blades looks awesome, and I'm super glad they went for the Alpha Bravo head just because I prefer that over the Blades head. And I wonder if they have the Alpha Bravo head, does that mean that they could do the aerial bots? I would totally buy that if they did the aerial bots. The black hands aren't as annoying because they are surrounded by missiles, so I don't mind them as much here, but the peg in the gun is too short, so he can't actually hold it properly. It moves too much, so I give him one of Groove's guns, because Groove has 2. There really isn't much else to say other than the paint's fairly clean, the plastic feels top. I'll touch more on the joints when we do the articulation, that's why I'm skipping it for now. This is the only Combiner Wars mold I never actually messed with other than Megatron, the leader, and I gotta say, it's just a generic Combiner Wars mold. It's not bad. He looks very plain though. Kind of wish they gave him more paint like first aid. But as it stands, it's kind of bland. And the black hands, they don't stand out as much here to me. But in motion, he looks all right. They all do. Nothing feels floppy. Plastic feels great for knockoffs. Makes me want to get the Wreck-Gar version of this mold, the actual Hasbro one. Because that one actually has color to it. And I sold my 86 Wreck-Gar. Hotspot sucks. Like straight up the worst figure of the set. He really only serves to be a torso, and he does that very well. But this particular knockoff got everything else wrong. They changed the waist to make the legs in combined mode look better, but that ruins the feet because they're now like slanted the wrong way. The ladder changed because it's no longer the head, but now it's all fucked up and weird looking. It doesn't like to cooperate. Fortunately, it does come off, but it is still annoying to mess with. And the guns on the side of the legs just look off. And also, the original mold wasn't the greatest to begin with, so this sort of doesn't add anything good. It just detracts by adding more stuff to it. And he looks cool with the rest of the set, but every time I go to mess with this set as individual robots, he stays in torso mode, off to the side, in shame, because he isn't very good. As a set though, yeah, $110 is totally worth it for these figures alone, because as knockoffs, there's absolutely no floppiness. It's weird. So all of the posing on the like limb dudes is exactly the same on all of them. So I'm just gonna go through one and then Hotspot because Hotspot's weird. But on the limb bots, you got heads that can rotate. They're on ball joints that can look up and down. Streetwise is clicks, but you know, whatever, it rotates. Shoulders are all on ball joints, so they can go in and out all around. You have bicep swivels. You have elbow bends. All of them are 90 degrees. You do have wrist swivels. Streetwise is the only one that can do this just because of his transformation. You got waist rotation. Hips are on ratchets. So you can go forward and back on all of them. And you can go in and out. You got thigh rotation. Knees are also ratcheted, but soft ratchets. And then none of them have anything at the ankles. Now, the hips and knees are ratcheted because they become arms, right? And they gotta, bend at the elbow. And the original toys were all just ball joints and hinges. And they would, as you can see, I had to put putty in this one because it got really loose. So, I like the ratchets. Now, one cool thing about Streetwise, and the reason I wanted to use him was because I wanted to show something off. So, Streetwise has this little, rotating peg here. So that way he can be an arm or he can be a leg. Right? If you fold it down in robot mode, it kind of negates the whole slanted foot thing, so I leave it facing up. However, if you break this, because it's just a 5mm peg on a stick, and I remember my original Streetwise almost breaking, so if you break this, I don't have it with me right now, but they actually include a replacement one with this set. They just give you in a little Ziploc baggie, a replacement piece if you break it. Now, this idiot, I don't like at all. Stand up straight, you moron. So as you can see, this is where the feet thing I was talking about, they're slanting this way because the original toy, the legs were facing this way, and so they would slant properly. But they didn't fix the slant when they retooled this thing. So it doesn't work. You also can't see the top of the toy, and he does this a lot. He leans. He's either leaning that way or, well, actually he just wants to lean that way. Fun. Head is on a ball joint, so you get the same sort of range of motion. You can't look up at all. Shoulders. God, that's loud. Have a ratchet, which you did not see at all. There you go. Arms can go in and out. You have double elbow bends, right? You can also move the arms out here if you want to. He does have a bicep swivel, but it's in the middle of his elbow, so you can do that if you want to. Nothing at the wrist on him. They did add a waist joint on this guy. I just realized I'm moving around the camera a lot. That's gonna make audio editing a pain in the ass. Hips can go forward. These tabs do get in the way of the crotch though, so when you move them up, you kind of have to move them out a bit to get them to go forward. They can go back. They can go in and out. You got thigh rotation. You have a knee that's just untabbed. Is that it? Oh, okay, that's it. Single jointed knee that bends that far. You can unpeg the knee if you want it to go further, but yeah, it doesn't. Wow, I didn't actually notice that because I don't mess with the hotspot a lot. Huh. And then nothing at the feet. T-posing hotspot. Transformation to alt modes is the same as Combiner Wars. You've seen it a bajillion times. Like Legacy Wild Rider uses the dead end transformation. So I'm going to just say the transformation on all of these is pretty solid and skip showing you because you've seen this already. Hotspot though kind of sucks because it's all just the ladder. It leads to the worst looking alt mode. The ladder doesn't get out of the way and it looks off, not to mention it's upside down, so it doesn't really work. The rest of them though are solid as a rock and they look the part. Groove is always just way too big, but that's just, you know, Combiner Wars. I kind of wish the set went with Rook as opposed to Groove, but whatever. I do think these genuinely look good except for Hotspot, fuck you. Now, combining them, that's a bit of a thing. Before we dive into Hotspot's transformation, I just want to point this out. Blades has the Wonder Woman logo on his tail fin. I know it's supposed to look like one of those heartbeat things, but it's just the Wonder Woman logo. He's Wonder Woman now. So I'm going to skip past the limbs because they are exactly the same as their Combiner Wars counterparts. And if you've messed with one Combiner War limb, you pretty much know how all the Combiner Wars limbs are gonna work. Hotspot though, they drastically changed this toy and it is all in service of the combine mode. So let's get into that. To start with, I like to remove the ladder because I hate the ladder. Then you just sort of fold up the feet, right? And normally the original combine mode would be split the legs, rotate them out, bring the arms around, and then you'd plug the stuff into there. But no, that's not how this works now. You take this, right? And you rotate this all the way around like that. And then you split the legs. Then you pull up his pee-pee flap. Now he's, you slide the hips out and you fold it back in to lock it into place. Then you take the arms, you rotate them on that loud ass ratchet. Doesn't help that my room's kind of empty. Like, here, hang on. We're just gonna, the room is kind of empty now. There's no bed in here anymore. There's no other soundproofing except for the chair and the shelves. So everything echoes and it's kind of loud, especially these ratchets. But you bring the arms back and around like so. This is where you would also mess with the ladder, but I like I said, I took that off. Now I need to raise this up so I can get, where's his crotch? Crotch. Okay. This part's a little annoying, so one thing I've noticed is if you untab this section, right at the bottom here, you untab the old crotch, and then these two tabs right here are gonna go into these two slots. So you just gotta like slide it in there and then click it into the top first. There we go. And then closing up the flap again to sort of wrap it all around, and now the crotch plate is plugged in. Now I just realized that I've messed up. You actually do need the ladder. Where's there it is. Now you need this section. So this is the torso section, fold the handle in, bring it out so it's like that, and then you just slide that into place all the way down. Bring this around everything, just sort of like fit it all together. Slide in, you idiot. Oh, there we go. Bring that down, fold this down, ratchet these, and tab them together into the torso, like so. And then the ladder's gotta, I don't like this ladder at all. I will probably remove it properly after this. There's the torso. It's just gonna fall over. Okay, let's get the rest of it. Groove. Streetwise. This part's a little difficult because these are quite stiff when sliding them in. They haven't modified the Combiner Wars joints at all. It's just the way they've built them, it's so tight. Get them in, there we go. And then slide this in like that. And we will just get first aid and slide him in as well. Ugh. Oh, my finger. Oh, I just bent my nail back. This is huge. This is huge. It's huge. That is a Titan. Oh my God. This is $110 and that is it standing next to a Titan. Bruh. The only issue I had off the bat was the feet were really slick at the bottom, and standing on a flat, non-textured surface, he starts to do the splits because of the weight. It's not like the ratchets would give out, it's the feet have no stable friction to stand on. Gravity Builder had the same issue, but unlike Gravity Builder, there's a flat enough surface on the bottom of his feet so I can put rubber feet on, well, his feet. And he stands. These were $8 on Amazon. But boy, does he look fantastic. This is why Hotspot sucks, because he looks great here. The torso upgrade plastic doesn't feel the greatest, but it's not like horrible. It's just the size of this thing. I knew it was going to be an upscale because that's what they told me. I just didn't know it was going to be this big. I went into this blind. I didn't watch any reviews on this because I wanted to see what it was going to be like myself. And I was not ready for how massive this thing was. Well, this is going to be a pain in the ass to show. I brought this out because of a size comparison, but I forgot to shoot it. But here it is next to Battle Trap in case you wanted to see that. He's big, and I'm going to be over here to do this. But head is on a ball joint, so it can rotate and do all that sort of stuff. Shoulders can rotate. They can go in and out. You got bicep rotation. You got elbows, which are ratcheted. And as you can see, it's holding the gun fairly well. I can hit it back down, but it's not going to go anywhere. Waist joint, hips are ratcheted. They can go in and out. The hip skirts are a bit weird, but they can move out of the way to accommodate. You do have thigh rotation and the knee rotation. You have knee bend. I don't know if you can see my face. Hi. And ankle tilt and forward and back. Oh man, I don't want it to fall over. He comes with this massive gun and a second one so you can dual wield. You are a rescue combiner. You do not need double gap, but yeah, I think this is worth the asking price. Again, link down below, definitely go check it out. It's really cool, barring Hotspot and all of his issues, but like, I'm definitely keeping this permanently on display. It is gonna be like Gravity Builder. It's gonna get its own little spot. Honestly, it might replace the Arc, because when the Nemesis comes out, I want the Arc and Nemesis to be next to each other in ship mode, so I'm going to get like a little table thing to put them on. So Defensor is most likely going to get that spot. But that's my look at Combiner Wars Defensor / Demon Knight knockoff Defensor thing. I don't even know who made this. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.